Hello dear friends. In the video we will talk about the celestial events in March 2022, but also in this video I will mention what awaits us in next few months, because I think we need that again. Maybe I will repeat myself a little bit, but doesn't matter. In the first part of the video I will describe the most important transits and try to connect them with the situation in the world. And occasionally I will mention individual signs of the zodiac. But at the end I will briefly mention all of the signs of the zodiac as a little summary. So at the end of this video, if you are interested in that. A new moon is going to happen on the March the 2nd. It will be in Pisces, and full moon will be on the March 18th in Virgo. The sun is in Pisces until the 20th, and that day is the spring equinox, which is of course the best and the like most promising day of the year when the sun goes up. And after the 20th, the sun is going to be in Aries. Venus is in Capricorn until the 6th, then it is in Aquarius, and Mars has the same rhythm. From the 6th is going to be in Aquarius also. Mars and Venus are together this month. Also, Jupiter is in Pisces, as you know, and all of the large planets are direct. Let me mention a few important transits. On the March the 2nd, Sun in Pisces will make a sextile to Uranus, that is in Taurus, of course. And this is very, very good aspect. This aspect will be active during the new moon. It can give success very quickly to those who need it, and the most of the benefits will have Pisces and Taurus. Of course, many other also. Then on the March the 2nd, also the same day, there is a conjunction between Mercury and Saturn in Aquarius. It can be very good for political ideas, maybe new way of understanding social issues and some serious decisions about that. Then on the March the 3rd, Mars and Venus are in the conjunction with Pluto in Capricorn. Mars and Venus, as we said, are together all month. That's why I want to talk about that in more details in this video. It is very, very passionate combination. And now when I'm recording this video, early morning 25th of February, many things already happen in the world, in political field, and I think it's connected with this conjunction. Then on the March the 5th, Sun in Pisces conjunct Jupiter, and this is the best day of the year traditionally. In traditional astrology we always say when Sun makes the conjunction to Jupiter, that's the luckiest day of the year. It happens once in a year. And not just that, on the March 13th, Sun is going to be still in Pisces and make the conjunction to Neptune, which also can be very good. Even though this Neptunian energy can sometimes make illusions and make us to believe that impossible is possible, and sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. Then also on the 21st of March, Mercury will be in Pisces and Mercury will then make conjunction with Jupiter, and on the 23rd, Mercury will make the conjunction to Neptune. So basically, the conjunctions of Sun and Mercury in March are preparing us for April, where is going to happen the most important conjunction of the year. This is the conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. I have spoken about this in my yearly, like an annual video. The name of the video is Walking on Water. This is my video for 2022. And I spoke in detail about that conjunction there. You can check that video if you're interested. And also I will speak about this conjunction in my April video. Then also on March 28th, Venus will be in Aquarius and make conjunction to Saturn. This is also quite important aspect. And it's quite funny because the whole month Venus is together with Mars. And suddenly then this planet of a lover, female lover, like finishes in the arm of Saturn, which here appears like the old and maybe experienced lover, but maybe the lover that when Venus does not really like. So I can guess that at the end of the March, this passion will calm down a little bit, and this excitement that will be there in March, first part, and perhaps some unwanted agreements will be signed or made at the end of the month because of the conjunction of Venus and Saturn. Maybe those agreements will be stable and good, but maybe people will not want them or things like that. So that's what is happening in March, are preparing us for the events in Pisces in April. And that conjunction in April is the conjunction of the God's grace, but also symbolizes the immense desire for salvation that people will feel. So we will see what that be. I will talk about that in April again. On the other hand, on March the 3rd, the conjunction of 3 planets at the 27th degree of Capricorn is a little bit different from that beautiful energies that are happening in Piscean sign, as we said, on the 5th, 13th, 21st, 23rd of March. So on the contrary, we have something else. These Piscean energies are very spiritual and very refined. While this what is happening at the end of Capricorn, those energies are passionate and very tough and very intense. So let's talk about that. America has Pluto in its horoscope at the 27th degree of Capricorn. And now, for the first time since it was established, that is after 246 years, America is going through this transit. It has Pluto return. Pluto travels over the 27th degree in February and in March. Then it returns there in summer. It is there at the end of the year in December, and the next year also. It is important to know that we react to Pluto's transits long before they happen, and we feel the effect of this transit long after its end. It works the same way in mundane astrology. And indeed, we see, no doubt for that the downfall of the empire that has been the world's hegemon for centuries. And here I mean not only America, but also Britain, that always remained connected to America regardless of the formal division since the War for Independence. That actually happened in the time when Pluto was in Capricorn at the same degree. Many have asked me to comment on the protests in Canada, but you know I don't do such horoscopes. So I can mention here these events, how I see them, briefly. I think that British Commonwealth is falling apart, and after a long period of time, more than a century for example, as I know, sleepy Canadians, Australians and New Zealanders, who always trusted their government, at least officially from that what we could see, they now realize that they're only just the colony. Even if they're on the territory that was like colonizers' territory before. And now it is the time for them to wake up from the sleep. After 2 years of imprisonment to 2020-2021, and after all of those restrictions of human freedom and everything else, they realize that the world of democracy and prosperity, as they have been taught, does not exist actually. It really does not exist anymore. It existed at some point, but now not. And finally, now it doesn't matter whether the Canadian or other protesters, not protesters, but protests, I wanted to say. It doesn't matter if these Canadian protests are spontaneous or controlled. That's not important now. It is all about the fall of the empire, and that's why it will be easier for somebody else to be the leader of this world, which does not mean that we'll be the best one, but it is happening. Also, when the empire is weaker, the people are stronger. We just need to understand that and stop listening to politicians whose main function is to hypnotize the masses. In this regard, I can also commend the conjunction of Mars and Venus and Pluto in the last degrees of Capricorn. Pluto here means that it is time for the all hegemon America to accept that it is time to go into the past simply. It can be perhaps regenerated, but of course not now. Still, it did not feel the end. So maybe, who knows when, one day, we will see. Furthermore, Mars is the planet of war in this conjunction, and Venus is the planet of diplomacy. Together, they are very passionate combination and can give different types of, can be understood in many different ways. America, Britain, and NATO will not just like that with this conjunction give up of their centuries-old politics. They have always found a way to conquer and betray others or to impose war on them, and after that call themselves liberators, you know? And that is why many crazy moves on that part are possible with this conjunction. And as it is known, when the end of empire approaches, the moves it makes are getting stupider. For example, America is raising its budget for the war funds, and they speak about some enormous amount of money that people need to pay, which will supposedly help them to overcome their crisis which they have. But according to some data that I found, over 40 millions of people are homeless today in America. And of course, who knows if it's true, you know, how to find the true information, we do not know. Maybe 80 million or who knows how many, we don't know that. But okay, I found that. 40 million they speak about. And those people cannot pay housing loans. And actually, this war that America, Britain, NATO, that they have now, that they need to have it now, that they need now in Russia, sorry, it is actually there to uncover the collapse that they are going through. They always solve their problems through wars for many centuries. And as a great teacher, Gurdjieff teaches us and said, he said, modern civilization is based on violence, slavery, and nice words. And it's really absolutely true. So we are now only learning that slavery has always been imposed to us by the same structures, even though we used to look different to that, like Germans and partisans are fighting, but behind there was always the same force which is there now also. So will the fair kingdom be creative with Mars, Pluto and Venus and try to come up with something new and exciting that should do now at the 5th of March? Of course, yes. But I mentioned that this aspect actually we feel much earlier, aspects with Pluto. So let's talk a bit more in details. Pluto at the 27th degree means the end of America as a world hegemon, and that aspect will last for 2 years. Only now at the beginning of March, Mars and Venus are there together with Pluto. And this means that at the beginning of March, this old power will be very creative. However, other side can also be very creative. We all can be very creative, very passionate and innovative in something that we do. And I think that Russian attack on the NATO structures in Ukraine that happened yesterday, at the end of the February, is happening to overtake the creative plan that NATO had. This is what I think about that, you know, that it started a little bit earlier and maybe with the other side. And those first ones did not expect it. Venus and Mars have been together, even if they were writing in newspaper, but they were writing different things, you know. So I hope you understand what I mean. Venus and Mars have been together for almost the whole month. now already, and that's not often, and they will be together in March also. And this is what Tolstoy, writer, would say: this is war and peace together all the time. And by the way, those planets meet every 18 months, but yet they're not together for so long. And yes, it's really like war and peace, but the trouble is that it's becoming more war. And it has to be because when the West speaks about war, Russia cannot speak about peace. But in this combination, Western medias, NATO and all others are making big noise. However, it seems that they will retreat from the world stage. And they are those paper tigers now. You will remember we said in my video about eclipses on Scorpio Taurus axis, I think that the Great War will not happen, but some fights are inevitable. And we see that now Russia says to NATO, you cannot come closer to our border, and Americans say, oh yes, we can, and now they have to be stopped by force. And now further, it's only be very important that other foolish governments of Europe and other countries that they protect people, because Russia is very serious now in this. And we can protect ourselves in some way, but there are certain things that governments have to do not to make the problem bigger. So we will see what will happen. So it's really true, Hannibal is ante portas, as it was said by all the Romans. But it is known that Carthago did badly at the end, even if they were fighting and very aggressive and arrogant for many years. And that is why they call Britain today the New Carthago. And the destiny of Carthago you most probably know. This conjunction at the end of the Capricorn, at the last degrees of Capricorn, emphasizes the struggle for finances also. I would say that the US dollar will be abandoned or devalued, and that this will slowly, I think, being prepared now with this conjunction in Capricorn, and which will further be emphasized with the eclipses that will happen on Taurus Scorpio axis in May and then in October 2022. During this year and the next year, there are going to be changes, big changes in the economic system. I think that some currencies will be liquidated or lose their significance, but we will see. I guess it will be so. Of course, I don't know for 100% anything. Astrology is not about 100%. It is about us to figure out which energies are in our disposal and how to use them. Later in this year, it is possible to expect that the battlefield will be in the finances area, not just the war, or not the war anymore, and maybe not the disease in question, but all of those things are somehow connected. And of course, in fall, they prepare something new for the humanity, new attack with the square of Saturn and Uranus is coming. And let's say something about this conjunction in the lives of individuals shortly. This conjunction, we said, means passion and struggle. So it can be in the life of individuals, struggle for another man, struggle for finances, for power, and the like. Many will be very creative in this process, and that will last almost all month. This is not only about the 3rd of March. This is the bigger part of March. Some people will work on their partnership or be very creative in business with somebody, or maybe will earn even very big money. Some people will make very important decisions about their future, like economy. Earth signs are the most harmonious with this aspect in Capricorn. So means that earth signs will have the greatest opportunity to experience passion, to develop creative ideas, to starting something new in a passionate way, maybe new relationship, or some joint project or joint investment or things like that. And cardinal signs, especially those who have planets at the last degree of the cardinal signs, they will be in the biggest conflict with this energy. Here I would also like to remind you that Pluto will gradually enter the sign of Aquarius during the years 2023 and 24. So that's why it is very important to follow events that are happening in the last degrees of Capricorn. Whatever big happens at the last degree of Capricorn will tell us how we will react on Pluto in Aquarius in those next years. Namely, according to globalistic plan, which predicts the destruction of humanity and creation of some biorobots. I spoke about that in my videos Technocracy and also in the video The Age of Aquarius and its Shadow. So they want to do that, and they also want to remove states and governments. They should be destroyed, actually, which is Capricorn. Capricorn is the government or the ruling structure of the country. So they're actually, globalists are very happy when government representatives in most of the countries of the world are fooling around. That's quite good for them. And it's even good if people rebel against them. Why not? Because every every chaotic state is good for them. Why? Because later they come, they create the world government, and they say we solve everything, and then they apply their transhumanistic agenda. And that's very true, actually, that we no longer need governments or politicians. I talk about that in many of my videos, since 2019 even. But we do not need them, not because we need now one world government. We need this because we need new structures, and those structures will really be without politicians. The future of our planet, let me say that also, speaks of creating completely new system that is formally imitated actually now by globalists. And this system they imitate, but they want to control it. But the essence of that new system does not allow control from the outside. Some control in that new system will be immanent to the system. It means it will come from within. It will be the integral part of that system. And that's actually what globalists try to create. And that's actually not possible, because this is possible only with organic structures, and now they want to make artificially organic structures. And that's why their plan can last very short. If, for example, they would make that, that will last very short period of time. If for that, you can check all these my recommended videos. I spoke about that already. For now, what is happening, let's just finish with this, with America. America is not going to be the hegemon as it was before, and partly also because, or mainly because, globalists are not using America anymore. So this is their business, actually. And they are now in China. They moved to China, and China is supposed to be the center for globalistic leadership. What will really happen to China later on, we will see. Another very difficult conjunction awaits us in April. This will be the conjunction of Mars and Saturn at the April the 5th in Aquarius. And we can maybe feel also that much earlier, at the end of March. This is a challenging combination, because in March, Venus controls the violent energy of Pluto and Mars. But in April, Venus will be a little further, and Mars and Saturn will be together in Aquarius. It is interesting that on March the 7th, Venus and Mars cross together in the sign of Aquarius. And in the February video, we spoke about that who symbolizes Aquarius on the Earth. And we know these are masses and people and collective generally. So from the 7th of March onwards, there will be probably some interesting ideas for defending collective from the plutocrats, or those who are attacking the humanity. And you know that the lawsuit has been initiated by the German lawyer. His name is Firmich. And the processes are conducted now in a new way in which the people represent the jury, uh, and everything can be seen online while the lawyers present all of the facts they have gathered. And really this, what they do, deserves utmost respect. I would like further to mention the new moon and full moon in March, which are happening on the axis of Virgo Pisces, and this is the axis of healing. On the day of the new moon, the four planets are in Pisces and make very positive aspect, that sextile, to Uranus in Taurus. Uranus in Taurus is more harmful than useful, and that's the sign, unfortunately, that symbolizes the destruction of the biological life on Earth. But those sextiles are very, very positive, and they can potentially stop the destruction that Uranus causes, and we will see that in the next 6 months. And now you wonder how is that possible? How would that be? Well, I don't know. And the question, how is it possible, is completely the right question, because now we see that the globalists passed the pandemic law, for example, in Czech Republic, where I live, and thus they created the condition for the torture of citizens under the pretext of pandemic. Or we also see that other countries have been ordered to accept such a law, which is placed above the constitution of the state. Or we also see that destruction of the man and life that bandits from Davos are creating in Serbia, for example, where I'm coming from, because there they want to build the laboratory, biolaboratory, which will actually make robots, biorobots, and eliminate people. So when all of those things are happening, you would ask how these positive aspects on new moon can do something. I don't know. As I said, just I know that Neptune and Jupiter in Pisces can help everyone who believes in God, in the higher meaning of life, and to those who have ideals. If medias form our image of the world, nothing good will happen. If we form it ourselves by finding a higher meaning in everything that happens, then we can overcome this. We need to understand this, then we can overcome it. Further, let us recall that the sign of Pisces has as a ruler Neptune. And Neptune symbolizes in its negative form drugs, wrong treatments, alcohol, any state of trance, intoxication caused by chemistry or some other matters. I spoke about Neptune in my video Neptune in Pisces. It's an older one, but you can see that if you're interested. So through the 20th century, globalists have been spreading drugs and all possible opiates around the world, not just for money. It was the second version of the Opium War that was successfully organized in China in 19th century. So they just continue to do the same thing in other parts of the world. The point was to destroy humanity, and especially young people. And if we know that, we should not be surprised with that what is happening the last 2 years to us. This is the same thing, just another form. They made different viruses, like AIDS, for example, with the same purpose. Plutocrats especially like to make money on destruction. So that's why these things are connected. They want to distract, but they also want to make money. Many people talk this is only a money question. No, it's not. It's not only the money question. In last 2 years, they made huge sums of money, but it's not just about that. And speaking of health, let's mention that fear kills. Many scientists have written about this while researching the nocebo effect in treatment. We have placebo and we have this nocebo in English. So I hope that you know that that they want to threaten everybody, but some people were really very much afraid, and others were not afraid of that, what they were presenting in media in the last 2 years. But it's interesting, why do they want to make people to be afraid by speaking about hurricanes, climate change, bad Russians, diseases, and so on? Well, they want to scare people. This is that now Hannibal, ante portas, but it is on the TV. It is making people scared. And when people are scared, they cannot do anything, basically. And this is easy to solve. You just need to press the button. Negative forces can never overcome all positive forces, because the negative energy cannot last forever. And it always changes according to the certain vibration. We vibrate in this universe. It's very good to know that and not to be afraid. But what I wanted to say is that some were afraid, some were not afraid. And that's also about that some people got sick in the last 2 years, some did not. So speaking about Virgo and Pisces axis, I would like to say that I noticed by doing Theta healing with people in those 2 years, I noticed that people who were not afraid, and who did not have this feeling of inferiority, they were actually not ill, and actually nothing happened with them. Their lives were completely normal in those 2 years. So what is important to know, it is that our spirit, or our personality, if you want, consists of codes, of programs, of our beliefs, if you want. And that actually influences everything what we do and the way how we perceive the reality. I cannot go more in this topic, but I guess you know what I'm talking about. It's forbidden to speak about that in democracy. So that's it. April is coming soon, then after that May, and those are the months for a turnaround in a big style, all this, which is happening from the second part of January, will progressively grow until June, when Saturn will be retrograde. Until then, there will be many significant events, many very good events for us, but many very challenging ones. The changes of the borders that we spoke about, for example, in my video Saturn in Aquarius, already started, and that will continue until the new order is established. It will be a little bit different from that what they wanted. In the fall, we have another square of Saturn and Uranus, and after that we will slowly move to different understanding of freedom, and how we will understand freedom depends on us, of us today and now. And now in individual horoscopes, those constellations in March bring very good fortune to Pisces, Crabs, and Scorpios. Crabs are that Cancer. Especially to those who have planets in the second and possibly in the third decade of their sign. Virgos are culminating something. This is the culmination of the 6-month period, so it's time for them to finish something. Capricorns, Taurus, and Virgos, especially those who have planets at the last degrees, have exceptional energy in their disposal. Whether they will use it for investments, passionate relationship, regeneration, for some creative purposes, it's up to them. They can do quite a lot, but they need to be strong and, go for it. Air signs become more active when Mars and Venus move into Aquarius, so means from March 7th on. So since then, Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius will be deal with relationship more. Maybe they will solve some partnership issue, or they will just maybe talk more with people and try to explain things to others, maybe communicate more. Fire signs are now like a little bit on the sideline, but when the Sun enters in to the sign of Aries, which will be on the March the 20th, and after that, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, especially those of the first decade, will feel that very strong and irresistible spring enthusiasm that we all feel also. They will experience big joy, most probably, regardless of all of the circumstances around them, and perhaps will be inspiration to many. And of course, with the entry of the sun in the sign of Aries, some sort of a fighting spirit also strengthens. So let's hope that our fights will be successful. And that's all for now. You will find all of the links and recommended videos and contacts linked to my web page and so on under this video on YouTube. By the way, I want to say that I'm on Telegram. I think that the censorship will be higher during the year, so you will find me on Telegram if you want to be connected. Check the name of the group, Symbolic Thinking, T, the dot, Mrs. This is my name, but Symbolic Thinking will be enough. You are free, of course, to schedule personal consultations with me. Just keep in mind that I deal with personal development, astrological psychology, and spiritual astrology. So I do not tell to people what will happen to them, because I believe that everyone can be realized in many ways, which depends only on the level of consciousness and self-awareness. When we learn about ourselves and become aware, we live differently than when we are unconscious machines. If you like the video, like it, share it, please subscribe to my channel, and thank you very, very much for that in advance. Let's finish with that. So I wish you at the end a very, very happy astrological new year, very happy Persian new year, very happy Afghanistani new year, and as well very happy year according to all of the solar calendars that starts now. I wish you a very happy beginning of spring, awakening and joy. I wish you vision, independence in decision making, courage and willingness to actively participate in the changes that are coming to us. And I see you soon.